In the name of spiritual seeking, life gives us access, especially in today's world, when knowledge, information, new concepts are available at a fingertip. You think about a concept and the information is available on our screens, on our phones. So as these questions of what is this life about, the constructs that the society, the family dynamics, the roles that we play when they start opening up as just a construct and not absolute. To seek answers to those questions, or even to get a confirmation that we're not going mad. These questions, are they even valid or not? When we have not known anything outside of these constructs. And here comes YouTube, Reddit, Facebook, Instagram, all these concepts, these wisdom teachings are available at a fingertip to us. And there might be a deep resonance with what is read, what is heard. And we may spend hours and hours, days and weeks of listening to these concepts or reading these concepts, intellectually understanding them because they make sense. And if we're coming from a place of already questioning the existing construct that we were a part of, the spiritual concepts make even more sense because they are confirming what we were questioning. And it feels like that we have the answer now. It feels like that all our loved ones and everyone that we know who is still seemingly stuck in the construct, whether they don't know a way out or whether they seem like they're fully enjoying and participating in even maintaining the construct, whatever part they might be playing. It seems like it's our responsibility to bring them out, to show them the truth, to show them the way out of whether it's consumerism or power struggles or dysfunctional dynamic of relationships, whatever dysfunction that we might be able to see. It feels like that we have the key to give them so they can open the door and exit that dysfunction. And before that can happen, and we may even try, we may even very diligently and passionately try and convince them, share our resources with them, try to talk them into understanding the concepts that are understood here, even intellectually. And it may work, it may not work. The chances are it may not work. The point of starting on this tangent is to ask a question of ourselves honestly. Do I understand what spirituality really is? Have I used the key to open the door and exited the construct? Have I fully assimilated the concepts? Am I coming from experience when I try to convince my loved ones or who I know are still seemingly stuck? Am I coming from experience when I talk with them or when I intend to share the concepts with them? Or am I just coming from what I've heard or what I've read or how it feels after hearing or reading those concepts? Can we put our hands on our heart and truthfully, honestly answer that to ourselves? The drive to move outwards to our loved ones, to our friends, to our colleagues, and trying and sharing this information, whether or not they have shown interest in it, whether or not they have asked questions about it, whether or not they seem to want to know about it. There is a high chance that the need to go out and share this information is just another way to seek validation that what this new realm of knowledge is changing in me is good enough. And I need you to validate. I need you to come with me and have access to this path and go through what I've gone through and then validate that what where I am now is valid. More than um, an initiative to help them. Or the need to go out and try and help them is coming out of the resistance that we feel when they're in pain, when they are suffering. When we see them suffering, it is something we don't want to experience. And then there is this need to share, oh, look at this meditation technique that I followed for 1 year and it brought me this change. You should try it. And it is fairly innocent to share what works with someone, and totally another movement to try and enforce that on someone, even internally, feeling like that, why are they not doing it? It would change their life. And then waiting or expecting them to take action in the way that action might have been taken in our case. It is our own attachment to their suffering, to have to be with them when they're suffering, that we want to change them. We want to change their experience to change our experience. And hence, that's attachment to outcome. That's not so spiritual that we may think it is. That's not so much an act of service that we would want to believe it to be. And now, when we hear this, someone might say, but then Gurleen, then what do? We just sit with we cross our hands, sit down, and just let the whole world suffer? Is that possible? Is it possible to just sit down and witness the whole world's suffering exactly as it is? Or does it create a deep-rooted uncomfortableness within my being, within my own experience? That something in me would say, like, no, but I can't let that happen. What kind of a person will I be if I let the other suffer? And if we really look at that arising, is it really about that person suffering, or is it about me suffering on other person's suffering? So sitting back and letting the world suffer as it will, in a way, is necessary on the path to really meet and familiarize ourselves with our own uncomfortableness with that. Because it is coming from that deep-rooted belief that my happiness, my end of suffering, is going to come from out there, is going to come from the flow of life, is going to come from when the world is not suffering anymore, when my parents are not suffering anymore, when my friends are not suffering anymore. And that is the book definition of attachment to outcome, that my happiness is to be found outside of me. What happens in the flow of life, what happens with the other. And that's suffering. That's my suffering. And then we go out on this mission to help the world without realizing that we ourselves are the ones that are in need of help. It's like in the airplane before flying, when there is security guidelines and descriptions that are made, and then they instruct that when the masks come down, put on your own mask first, and then assist the other, then help the other to put their on, even if they're your children. So using that analogy, we are so quick at recognizing the dysfunction or the suffering in the other one that we just take that opportunity to help them, or maybe prove a point, or maybe show them that we are better than them because we have access to um, this information, and they should too, and then it'll help them. Is it possible to just stop and step back in that moment and ask this question of ourselves? Am I doing this for me, or am I doing this for them? And there's nothing wrong in doing it, in helping the other, but we need to realize we're doing it for our own sake. We're doing it we're doing it out of my own discomfort. Not because they're uncomfortable, but because their discomfort is making me uncomfortable. I feel obliged to go out there and be there for them. And if I don't do that, I feel shame. I feel I'm not good enough. I feel I haven't applied myself in this relationship as I think I should have. Are we available to look at all of that within ourselves without any judgment, without any, oh shit, look at that, there's so much suffering within me? Can all of this be allowed within ourselves without us judging it, without us wanting to fix it or change it. Going out there to be there for someone, even if it is something that I'm doing for myself, as far as there is an awareness that yes, I'm doing it for myself, there won't be this subtle implied transactional thing in the relationship anymore. Then there won't be an expectation that I'm doing this for you, now you do this for me. There won't be any disappointment if they say, just go away, I want to be alone. Or worse, that if we go there and say, why are you here? It is because of you that I am in this mess, or whatever the case may be. There won't be a disappointment because we know from the get-go that I went there for myself, because I wouldn't be comfortable with the idea that they're suffering and I wasn't there for them. So in a way, any act of service, all acts of service, coming from duality, coming from me and the other, coming from me helping the other, the very intention to help can only come from suffering. So then what is service? What if sitting back with our crossed hands and letting the world suffer while we look at our own suffering? What if that might be the highest form of service? Really, if it were really possible for suffering to completely be dissolved within my system, completely fall away within my system, then whatever happens through this system is service. Whatever it may look like. Because it won't be coming from a place of shame or blame or pride or worry or expectation. Expectation from myself, from the other, from life. Even in the subtlest form, those dynamics would be absent. So then whatever can happen from the system is service. So the only service, true service that we can bestow upon the world is to really work on ourselves, knowing that there is no doer. And until that is known, entertaining the concept and confirming it for ourselves in our own experience. What does it mean there is no doer? What does it mean everything is God's will? What does it mean that my happiness is not to be found in the flow of life? It's not to be found in the outcomes. It's not to be found in how I am, how the other is, how life is. It is to be found in the falling away of all those deep-rooted beliefs. And as those beliefs are even caught, and they may momentarily lose their ground, and in them falling away, even momentarily, what remains is what was being sought after all along. It is always here, even amidst the suffering, the experience, the me and the other dynamic. It is here right now, looking from behind those eyes, within which the sounds of this voice, the meaning of the words, the interpretation of the meaning of those words is all being registered. When the eyes are closed and the visual field of objects disappears, does this within which the sight was happening, is happening, go anywhere? Are the sounds coming from across the country, from my laptop, through a speaker? Or is this sense of sound arising and falling away, seemingly making sense based on the concept of language that is learned? Are these sounds arising within this and falling away within this? Or are they traveling from all across the world through this technological device? In our immediate experience, which description is confirmable? Conceptually speaking, they both are concepts, and probably the internet and technology concept is a more believable concept because that's how really you can describe the working of what's going on in this moment. Me sitting in one part of the world in front of the camera talking, and you sitting in some other part of the world in front of the speaker listening. But in our immediate experience in this moment, where is the world? What is confirmable in this moment? If I were to drop all the concepts that I think I know and I understand, what remains? And is that dependent on anything arising? Is that dependent on sight and sound and taste and sensation, breath, body? Or all of that is within that? In the midst of the most passionate movement, it is possible to just stop and come back to where passion arises from, within which this drive to go out there and look for happiness out there arises from. Just stop and recognize that the very source of this arising is already complete, is already devoid of any possibility of unhappiness, incompleteness, any dysfunction. From that recognition, whatever happens is service. Our system is so well trained, well conditioned to just in each moment, just go out and then go out again. And even if it thinks it's going deeper, within a moment, without even catching ourselves, we just are out there again. And that's okay. It just is an opportunity to see how deep-rooted the separate self that believes to find completeness out there is. And what to do? Nothing. Nothing. If it's caught, great, stop, come back. If it's not caught, well, and then it's caught, and a narrative may come in the mind was like, why do I always forget to come back to myself? Why do I always get so involved in this? And if we can then catch that, it was like, oh, look at that. It just jumped the wagon and now is criticizing itself and still successfully forgetting to come back and, well, stop and come back. And even in that moment, if it can be caught, it's like, oh, this is just more thinking based on belief in the sense of personal doership as if I did the jumping and going outwards and forgetting and attachment to outcome. Because why do I forget? Why don't I get it? Is this why is really based on attachment to outcome of never wanting to forget. Because now coming back is treated as an outcome. And when that's not happening, I'm attached to that outcome happening. How could I forget? How could that happen? And this very thinking in horizontal time itself is the very act of forgetting. In the clothing of trying to set itself right, that why do you forget? But that's just more forgetting. That's the funny part. Is it possible to just catch? It's like, oh, look at that. I'm just shaming myself again in the name of spirituality, in the name of going deeper, in the name of stopping and coming back. That's how well our systems are built, to just suffer. Nobody's fault. Nobody's doing, just how it is. And being able to see that, see through that, is such a wonderful blessing, such an opportunity to just drop it right there and then without trying to figure out whether this is an illusion or truth or investigate into it. Just drop it. You know what? Doesn't matter. And it can play out on its own. Dropping it doesn't mean that it just goes away. Dropping it happens in the sense that the attachment to it happening or not happening falls away. Then the very arising can play its course, or can dissolve, or can become even worse. That totally is what will be in that moment. And there is no insistence on the arising to be anything other than what it is, because it doesn't mean anything about me. My happiness, my completeness is not to be found in that, or in the result of that arising, or in the dissolving of that arising. So it doesn't matter in a way. And yet there is a full availability, full openness to fully let it play out, fully let it overtake our system even, without being afraid of it, without trying to protect ourselves from it. It's like sitting in our ground fearlessly, yet compassionately. And that is true service. Feels like a good note for me to stop talking. And if there is any question, comment, anything to share, feel free to raise your electronic hand and I can unmute you and we can have a chat.
Hello जी.
Hello, my love. It's so good to see you.
अभी तो मैं नाइट सूट में ही होती हूँ. मैंने कहा आज कोई नहीं है तो ओपन कर लेते हैं.
This is being live streamed on YouTube. So if we talk in English, it'll be audible
Okay.
to everyone and understandable.
Okay. Just wanted to say thank you.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. Everything well in the world of Aman?
All good.
That's so good to hear. Thank you, Aman. Stop and come back. Whatever feels uncomfortable, it's not what triggered the uncomfortableness. It's just the very arising of feeling uncomfortable. That is the sign, that is the opportunity to just stop and come back. Stopping for today. Thank you so much for joining, everyone. Until next Sunday. Thank you.